I'm Jana Bosonko, and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Caraba Avenue. Thanks for joining us. And here are the main local and sports news headlines. A mass burial is to be held for 50 unidentified bodies, some of whom have been kept for many years at the Edward Francis Moore Teaching Hospital Mortuary in Banjul. ECOWAS leaders, including President Adama Barrow, on Saturday met in Accra, Ghana for an extraordinary summit during which they discussed reports on the post-coup situations in some West African states. The new Minister of Information, Lamin Queen Jammeh, on Monday visited QTV and Q Radio, during which he hailed what he described as the impactful work by QTV and Q Radio. A project to provide protective services and economic alternatives for potential young people and returnees is currently underway in Nyamina. And in sports news, Gambia opened their 2023 AFCON qualifiers with a 1-0 win against South Sudan in Chess, Senegal on Saturday. Those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Do stay with us. Thank you for joining us, and I am Jana Bosonko. Now, a mass burial is to be held for 50 unidentified corpses at the Edward Francis Moore Teaching Hospital Mortuary in Banjul. According to Keba Sane, the principal public relations officer of the hospital, some of the corpses have been kept for many years. And Sumana Isonyasi has the rest of that story.
This is the mortuary at the Gambia's largest and only referral hospital. Built in 1853 by British colonialists, formerly called the Royal Victoria Teaching Hospital. Like every hospital, the FSTH admits, cares and treats patients with various illnesses. Some respond to treatment and recover, but unfortunately, others succumb to death. And due to various circumstances, some of the deceased were not identified. Keba Sane, the principal public relations officer, says the hospital is already in talks with the police and the Banjul City Council for a mass burial of about 50 unidentified bodies kept at the hospital's mortuary.
We have an idea as to how many bodies we believe are with us. We are counting between 40 to 50 bodies, and these bodies came at different times. We would say that these bodies, some of them have been here for quite a while in a sense that we're talking of years they've been here.
During our tour of the mortuary, we saw big refrigerators where bodies are preserved until they are cleared by the police for burial, in some cases after an autopsy. Behind these walls are cells, each containing 6 bodies. Mr. Sane says once a date for the mass burial is finalized, the public will be informed. And as the religious identities of the deceased are not known, an imam and a pastor will be invited to lead prayers on the day of the burial.
Dead bodies are human dead bodies. I can understand the concern of the general public as to why should they be in the hospital for this long and nothing has been done. But I think they need to equally understand that bodies cannot just be discarded like a piece of paper that you're no more interested in. You really have to work a lot of hours and maybe years and days to find out the identity of these people, which is very important because as we are speaking, we cannot be sure of the religious groups that all these bodies belong to, female or male, and so basically we want to bury them in a mass grave.
Piero Sane also showed us the container where the unidentified bodies are kept. And contrary to reports online about the condition of the place, we found the area clean and well kept, and the refrigerators appear to be functioning well. Despite some of the corpses being kept here for long, the PRO says they pose no health or environmental hazard to patients or staff at the hospital. However, he admits that the increase in the number of corpses kept here over a long period is becoming a challenge.
This is not exclusively for the hospital to take care of. There are other people who need to be consulted, and that's the law. The police are informed, and they are very much aware of the presence of these bodies here. Why do I say that? It's because some of these bodies, if not all of these bodies, most of these bodies that are not identified are in fact brought to us by the police.
Piero Sane urges members of the public to not only stop at reporting to the police when their loved ones are missing, but also visit the mortuary, as some of these unidentified bodies may be their relatives or people they know. Ansumana Isonyase for KTV News.
We pray that their souls rest in peace. Now, ECOWAS leaders, including President Adama Barrow of the Gambia, met in Accra, Ghana on Saturday for an extraordinary summit during which they received and considered assessment reports on the post-coup situations in Mali, Guinea-Conakry and Burkina Faso. QTV's Aliou Cisse was monitoring the summit and files on this report.
The heads of state and government considered the report presented by Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, a former president of Nigeria, on the situation in Mali, and the reports of the ECOWAS assessment mission to Burkina Faso, and on the situation in Guinea, presented by Honorable Albert Kan Dapa, Minister of National Security of Ghana, representing Sali Ayoko Boche, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration of Ghana, Chair of the ECOWAS Council of Ministers. The authority also considered the memorandum presented by the President of the Commission on the deployment of the support mission for the stabilization in Guinea-Bissau and the financial situation of the missions. In a final communique on security of 4 June 2022, the authority noted the efforts made by Burkina Faso despite its numerous challenges in recovering some localities, thus leading to the return of some of the internally displaced persons and the reopening of some schools. Sub-regional leaders encouraged the Burkinabe transition authorities to sustain the momentum towards further enhancing security in the country. The leaders expressed serious concerns about the humanitarian situation compared to the situation noted by the previous ECOWAS missions in the country in April 2022. They called on the international community to strengthen its humanitarian support to Burkina Faso. The authority welcomes the decision to allow former President Kabore to return to his home and insists he be given full freedom. However, the summit upheld the suspension of Burkina Faso from all ECOWAS institutions until constitutional order is restored. Furthermore, the authority appointed Mohamedou Issoufou, former president of the Republic of Niger, as the ECOWAS mediator for Burkina Faso to facilitate dialogue among stakeholders. On Guinea, the authority expressed serious concern over the socio-political situation, notably due to the lack of a dialogue framework between the government, political stakeholders, and civil society actors. It also expressed concern about the length of the 36-month transition period announced by the transition authorities and demanded the finalization of an acceptable transition timetable. Mohamed Ibn Chambers was confirmed as ECOWAS mediator designate in Guinea. They called upon the Guinea government to respect the human rights of all Guinean citizens and to desist from any acts that undermine the rule of law. On Mali, the summit commends the efforts made by the ECOWAS mediator with a view to reaching an acceptable timetable to ensure a quick return to constitutional order, in accordance with the ECOWAS and African Union protocols and decisions. The authority decided to ask the mediator to Mali to continue his efforts and to finalize discussions with the transition authorities. Accordingly, the authority decides to uphold the sanctions imposed on 9 January 2022. On the stabilization support mission in Guinea-Bissau and on the financial situation of the stabilization missions, ECOWAS leaders considered the ECOWAS mission's report on the deployment of the mission in Guinea-Bissau with a view to ensuring the stability of the country. The authority expressed gratitude to the troop contributing countries for their support and took note of the financial situation of the stabilization missions. Sub-regional leaders will examine the situations in Burkina Faso, Guinea and Mali at the next ECOWAS Ordinary Summit on July 3rd. In a different engagement, President Barrow met with representatives of the Gambian community in Ghana, who, among other things, appealed that a consulate is needed for the welfare of approximately 1,200 Gambians, most of whom are students and professionals undergoing studies. In response, President Barrow urged them to team up and nominate a representative who may be considered by his office. The President underlined the importance of maintaining peace and stability, as well as being excellent ambassadors for the Gambia. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Now, the new Minister of Information, Lamin Queen Jammeh, on Monday visited QTV and Q Radio, during which he hailed what he described as the impactful work by QTV and Q Radio. The visit is part of his ongoing familiarization tour of media houses in the country. Alusise again.
Jammeh and his delegation were received on arrival by Malik Kah, General Manager of QTV and Q Radio, and Lassana Tunkara, Deputy General Manager, together with staff of QTV and Q Radio. The delegation was taken on a tour of QTV, the Gambia's first private TV station, and Q Radio studios, and to the under construction and the soon-to-be-completed state-of-the-art international standard QTV studios. With less than 6 years since it was launched, QTV and Q Radio have become the fastest-growing Gambian media platforms, with increasing audiences across all mediums, as a credible source of quality programming for Gambians and non-Gambians within and outside the country. Minister Jammeh and delegation were later received by Mohamed Jah, chairman of the Q Group, who expressed delight at the visit and congratulated the new minister on his appointment. Mr. Jah informed the minister that as a media house, it is and always has been aware of its responsibilities from the date a license was issued after the change of government in 2017. In addition to the breakthrough in promoting the country and providing valuable information, QTV and Q Radio have also set the standard for other private media houses. Nonetheless, challenges including capacity building exist, which Chairman Jah shared with the minister, while appealing for more support to the private media, including, if possible, tax exemptions.
What you receive on advertisement per month is not even up to 15% of your budget to run a television. So it's a very expensive business to run, and we believe that with your leadership, now that we have a special ministry only for us, I think you will try to look at what is happening in the rest of, the world or the rest of Africa. I think normally, even in Senegal, other countries, there is subvention for both the private and the public TVs, because the government uses the platform to create awareness.
Chairman Jah commended the government spokesperson Ibrahima Sankare and former Information Minister Ibrahima Silla for their valuable advice and support to the media industry. QTV and Q Radio are part of the wider Q Group family of companies, including QCell Gambia, which employ hundreds of Gambians. It is also credited for its tax payment compliance, including the timely payment of the GSM levy to GRTS. For the new minister, Lamin Queen Jammeh, the visit has given him first-hand information about the operations of QTV and Q Radio. He said the concerns are noted and will be considered, bearing in mind the importance of information. He expressed satisfaction at what he found during his visit to QTV and Q Radio.
I would hasten to mention that we are really impressed with what we have seen here. We went on a thorough conducted tour of your complex, led by Mr. Tunkara. And with what we have seen, we are really impressed.
Even though it is not an urgent priority for government to provide subventions for the private media, Minister Jammeh said it is a valuable information for him. He advocated for the promotion of responsible journalism. Malik Kah, General Manager of QTV and Q Radio, joined the Q Group chairman to thank the new minister for conceiving the idea to visit the media houses. He said QTV is not in competition with any other media house, but doing what is in the interest of the country.
But also by virtue of the job we do, we also have to be informative and educative and inclusive, like you said. And that inclusivity is very reflective in our programs. If you look at the programs, we try to cater for all groups that are within the Gambia. So we reflect that in order to make sure that our role and responsibility is within the context of being ethical, being informative, and being educational.
Ibrahima Sankare, the government spokesperson, recalled that the relationship between the former government and private media was cordial, something this government wants to improve. He reveals that the minister will make similar visits to rural media houses, the outcome of which will guide his policy decisions. The minister was also accompanied by his advisor, Abdul Toure, former GRTS DG and ministry officials. Reporting for QTV News, I am Alusise.
From that story by Alusise on the new Minister of Information's tour, we will now go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we have some more local news stories as well as sports. Do stay tuned.
To make sure your company's products and services reach your potential customers, it is essential that you choose the right channel for your marketing purposes. QTV has the widest reach locally and beyond, and we can give your business the visibility it needs. Call QTV Marketing on +220 324 4444 or email us at marketing@qtv.gm and take your business to the world.
As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, Gambia's trusted network.
Welcome back from that break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News, and I am Jenna Bosonko. Now, a project to provide protective services and economic alternatives for potential young people and migrants is currently underway in Yamina, implemented by ActionAid International, The Gambia. More in this report. The project is targeting 80 potential and migrant returnees who undertake a 3-month intensive course on agricultural practices and 1 month's apprenticeship in an institution. The focus is on small ruminant, poultry farming and horticulture to create meaningful employment for young people as part of efforts to curb irregular migration. Over 35,000 Gambians arrived in Europe by irregular migration means between 2014 and 2018. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, has facilitated the voluntary return of 148 Gambians from Libya and 45 from Niger. Here is Fantajata Sow, Head of Programs and Policy, ActionAid International, The Gambia.
So we feel investing in agriculture is one way that can meaningfully help not only unemployment but also other social sectors like health, education. So it's a very important sector that if we meaningfully make investments on, it's going to reduce many of the social menace that's going on in our society. And the target for this project are mainly young people, especially those at risk of migration.
Research shows that over 60% of Gambians depend on farming for their livelihood. Most farmers are illiterate and lack of knowledge, skills, economic opportunities and access to productive resources such as credit and land ownership and support services. The project could change that by providing education, on-the-job training and financial support for the beneficiaries. Cyber T. Suso is the project manager.
First thing we did was we did a community sensitization, working through our agencies in the villages. And if you see our setup here, we have what is called the Apex. And the Apex, this is a CBO that is constituted either by civil CSOs that are within the villages or village VDCs. So what we first did was we sent the information through the Apex, who sent the information to their different villages. And with that, we went and do some sensitization with them to understand the criteria, because criteria are already developed, and those are the criteria that we will strictly follow because we want the right people for the training.
ActionAid has been in the Gambia since 1979. The NGO focuses on the rights and needs of the poor and vulnerable in the health and education sectors, among others, and by trying to achieve social justice, gender equality, poverty eradication. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko. The newly refurbished maternity ward at the Serekunda Health Center, sponsored by UNFPA, was inaugurated on Friday by the Ministry of Health and representatives from the UNFPA. Ajibintu Drama attended the event and fastened this report.
The once dilapidated maternity ward is one of the oldest health facilities in the country and registers about 300 births every month. Amongst other priorities, UNFPA focuses on strengthening national population data systems, addresses inequalities, and supports gender equality and universal access to sexual and reproductive health and reproductive rights. Reproductive health is important as it protects both the mother and child from infectious diseases to deliver a healthy baby. Ndei Rosar, the UNFPA country representative, explains.
UNFPA invests in intervention geared towards improving pregnancy outcomes and averting preventable maternal deaths in the Gambia for over a decade now. In the last 5 years alone, UNFPA has invested heavily in the provision of emergency obstetric care services in health facilities across the country. Notably, we refurbished the theater at the Soma District Hospital, the Kuntaho Health Center, and most recently, the Esau District Hospital, in order to ensure that they have the capacity to deliver comprehensive emergency obstetric care services.
Dr. Momodu Tinyasi, the Deputy Director of Health Services at the Ministry of Health, encourages the staff of Serekunda Minor Health Center to put more effort in the reduction of maternal mortality.
Maternal mortality in the Gambia has reduced dramatically from over 400 to 289 per 100,000 live births. Though there is significant reduction, but in comparison to other parts of the world is unacceptably high, because every maternal mortality matters.
David Day, the officer in charge of the facility, says the facelift has added value to the center and it will create a conducive environment for women and staff and hope to reduce child maternal mortality. He explains the challenges faced in the center.
We will be glad if KMC can help us to prevent the vendors from blocking the road towards the facility. Toilet facility for patients is a challenge considering the number of visits we recall on a daily basis. Roofing system of the RCH is in a very bad state as we are approaching the rainy season and is definitely near an urgent concern.
Fatu Sanyang, Principal Nursing Officer Western Region 1, congratulated outstanding staff for their dedication and contribution to the center and thanked partners for their continuous support.
This labor ward has been designed in a model way in which one woman to a delivery room, so that privacy is ensured and partner participation during delivery is encouraged. Many researches were done that shows that companionship in labor reduces labor pain, encourages bonding, and reduces complications during delivery. We are therefore encouraging our men folk to participate in the process.
The UNFPA representative handed over the keys to the facility to officials of the Ministry of Health. Outstanding staff were also presented with awards at the end of the ceremony. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
Now from that story by Ajibintu Drame, let's take a look at what is happening in the world of sports. Now, Gambia opened their 2023 AFCON qualifiers with a 1-0 win against South Sudan in Chess, Senegal on Saturday. Due to the national stadium not being fit to host it, the home game had to be played in Senegal. Our reporter Mamadou Gajaga traveled to cover the game and fastened this report.
Ablai Jallo scored in the 3rd minute of first half added on time to give Gambia their first victory in the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against South Sudan. Early on in the game, Hassan Cisse was brought down in the box, but the referee surprisingly failed to award a penalty. Despite South Sudan not showing much of a threat in the first half, their star player, Valentino Yuel, who plays his club football in Australia's top division, showed brilliant play with some dribbles and a couple of near-post shots. The Gambia nonetheless dictated the play with majority of possession. Both Ablai Jallo and Hassan Cisse missed good chances to give the Scorpions an early lead. Gambia's domination in performance was not reflected in the scoreline, and much of the possession and passes were in their own half rather than in pressing home and attacking more when they were in control. South Sudan had a much improved performance in the second half, passing well and creating spaces with some good forward runs. They came close with scoring chances, but the Gambia defense dealt well with their attacking threat. This is how the two coaches reacted to the game.
First of all, I have to say thank you to all the fans who are here and creating a fantastic atmosphere. We are home, away from home, but it felt well because we had a lot of fans supporting. I had a little bit goosebump feeling when the fans behind us were singing the national anthem. And that was lovely. I experienced that from opponents, but never from Gambians. And I'm so proud to be Gambian and to have the fans in the stadium singing the anthem and celebrating with the team. So thank you very much.
First of all, congratulations to Gambia team. They are great, and we know before the game that it will be a tough game for us. But in the same time, I am happy about the performance.
Omar Kohli, captain of the Gambian team, says they will do their best to qualify for the second AFCON in a row after reaching the quarterfinals of their maiden tournament in Cameroon earlier this year.
We know ourselves, we know what we can do, and we still know that we are Gambia, we are still a small country, even though we are bigger than South Sudan, but we still we have respect for them, and Mali is, I don't know, 60 or 70 in the world, and you see Congo Brazzaville, still Gambia, we are 123 in the ranking, but we're gonna do our best and try to qualify to the next AFCON. Because
Habib Musa Fall, a Scorpions fan, shares his feelings about the game with South Sudan.
It's been a tiring, long journey, but at the end of the day, it worth it. When the Gambia plays, it's like my heart is beating faster and faster and faster. The fact that we have, it was a fourth game of the year. We won.
Mali led Group G on goal difference after thumping Congo 4-0 in Bamako. Gambia will face bottom side Congo on Wednesday, while Mali face South Sudan in Kampala, Uganda, as the South Sudanese, like Gambia, are unable to play matches on home soil. Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
Now, congratulations to the Scorpions. I'm afraid that is all we have time for. Join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Thanks for watching.